I'd like to ask you this question that baffles me, because you obviously have spent a great deal of time studying the history of the continent of Africa. Going from the apex of civilization, the Egyptians and the like, on to present day, what happened? I mean, what happened to our people? How did we fall so far? I don't know, that's a long period of time, but...
How did Africa fall? It's a good question. No, I think that there are a number of places where Africa misstepped. I mean, all societies will misstep sooner or later. We may very well, I mean, if we could be here to look back hundreds of years from now, look back at the United States, I mean, people may say, oh yeah, when Bush was the president, that was the breaking point where the American economy declined because it owed so much debt, and it was stretched, overstretched itself, and so on. Well, it happens to every society. I mean, the British Empire, at one time they said that the sun never set on the British Empire, but now you know, it sets on it every day. So it's a very, very, there is no British Empire now. So when you go back and you ask about this question, I think you look at many points in African history. The first point that I think that really signaled for us that there was going to be trouble for the African continent had to do with 1492. Not Columbus coming to the New World, but the death of Sani Ali Bear, who was the last great king of Songhai. The reason for that, in my judgment, is that with the breakup of the massive kingdom of Songhai, which had inherited its power from Mali, which had inherited Ghana, you had no longer any defender of the West African coast, and you had the perfect setup for Europe to invade from the ocean and for Arabs to invade across the desert with no kingdom, no nation, no imperial center to protect the interest of Africa. And then, of course, you began to get the first great scramble for the African continent. That's one part. There is a second part to it, which perhaps one sees in even earlier times, in the classical times. So I take 1492, the death of Sani Ali Bear as one figure, and let me just go back, because I said that was the first, but before that there was also some other indication, and that indication, I think, came with the destruction of the unity that existed when the Nubians controlled Egypt and Nubia, when they controlled both the northern part of the Nile Valley and the southern part of the Nile Valley. This was under the great 25th dynasty of the Nubians, led by the great kings like Pianki and Shabaka, Shabataka, and Taharka. This was a great period of time. When that kingdom, that empire was destroyed, when it was defeated, then it opened up the gateway for the Assyrians to come, and then other people to come, because then you get the first of these mighty invasions in classical Africa. In the south, it was the destruction of Zimbabwe, the destruction of the great city-state kingdom of Zimbabwe, Manamatapa. Manamatapa was an empire that controlled, some people think, between 200 and 800 stone cities. I've seen two of them, Sloslo and Zimbabwe itself. And these stone cities were cities that were set up by African people based on stone construction. This was an unusual thing. But the breakup of this kingdom in the 14th century AD, I think, also meant that the southern part of Africa had no consolidating, unifying force. And this also gave the opportunity to people to invade and also to scatter African populations.